evaluating Peggy. Tim?
Now that's true crime in Chicago, right? Absolutely terrifying, Peggy. You can see himself right there. Incredible, incredible story. And you asked me to take a look at the story. Before I get to the story, one thing you did really well is you asked a question. As you know, questions connect. Questions connect you and your audience. When you ask a question, your audience gets thinking, what's the answer? Now your question is a little bit later. I'm going to get to that, a little bit more constructive ideas. But it was a good question. It got us thinking. And you had a story. Story may be known, seen, and heard, as you may have heard before. And certainly we understood the background. Described your friend a little bit, so she's seen, and had some dialogue she's heard. I'll talk more about dialogue and how you can improve dialogue again in the improvement section. But it's a good story, and a powerful story, and a personal story, and a true story. At least I'm presuming it's a true story.
Yes.
It's a true story, that's the power of it. It happened to you, it's emotional, you can bring that emotion to something that really happened. And because it's a terrifying story, you take a little bit of the edge off it with humor. Humor is happy. Humor is happy. So if you have a terrifying story and people are freaking out, a little bit of humor can make them more comfortable, make them relax a little bit, make them believe even more, because sometimes a really scary story can push people back. Now, thoughts about development, and the one thing about it is awareness of the audience. The great thing that world champion Craig Valentine says, I love to repeat, is tact and transport. Tact and transport. When you're up there at the conversation with your audience, and the most important person out there is you, as Pat very well said. So the first thing you do is connect with that audience. One thing you can do is direct a dialogue to the audience, just direct something to the audience directly in the conversation. And that puts the audience in the picture. Or you can say imagine, or have your question. But immediately connect with the audience. Because if you start with your own experience, you're here, the audience is here, and you never really get any closer. So audience. Another thing is conflict. Right from the beginning, create the conflict. Create the conflict. There I was, walking around the car with a knife at my neck. That's a grabber. Then later on, as TV does, you can say, let me step back a little bit how this all started. And then get going. But create the conflict right from the beginning. And then the final thing to think about improving, anybody can do this, is dialogue sooner. And one of the magical things is internal dialogue. Internal dialogue, you say what you're thinking. So it's an average day with my friend. I'm thinking, probably boring things going out here, don't know what to do. Maybe we'll go over here, maybe we'll go over there. Not quite certain. What do you think? Say, like, well, this is what we could do. You can have internal dialogue and external dialogue. And that fills in the space better than I was walking around or was talking around. That fills in the space more because that's dialogue. Dialogue is powerful. So dialogue sooner. There's one thing certainly about your story made me very aware. You better be careful out there.